Okay. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this latest QGate webinar, where our focus is on turning your CRM into a marketing engine. And there are two reasons we've chosen this topic for today. One is because I don't believe that anyone fully understands the capabilities of what a CRM can do these days, me included. And with the pace of technological development and investment, particularly by Microsoft in their platforms, I'm not entirely sure I ever will. But we see a role in this for QGate in helping decipher and demystify technology for our clients and help them understand the practical capabilities of technologies such as automation and CRM systems for their businesses. And I'll talk in a few minutes more about the limits of people's understanding of what a CRM is. And I guess kind of the second reason for picking this particular topic is that there are so many businesses we talk to who operate often two completely siloed systems in siloed departments. CRM for sales and a totally different system they keep for communicating with the very same people they have in their CRM. So clients, leads, prospects, decision makers, stakeholders, etc. And don't get me wrong, I've been in situations. I've worked in companies where marketing would ask sales for a downloaded list of all the contacts in the CRM, which then would be time stamped in the title and then be uploaded to a totally separate system for email marketing campaigns, newsletters, promotions, etc. And then somebody would have to unpick all the bounce backs and unsubscribes and highlight them on a spreadsheet, which would then go back to sales for someone to make amendments to the CRM. So long-winded, but we all did it because we didn't know there was another way. And you realize why the appetite for sending out emails and newsletters begins to flag over time. So that's the reason why we've picked the topic for today. And before I go on too long, you'll see my screen transition. Brilliant. My name is Josh Dallywell, and I'm one of two hosts on this call today. In a change to the usual proceedings, I have a guest on this webinar today, and I'm kindly joined by Jamie from ClickDimensions, who's going to help me with this question on how to turn your CRM into a marketing engine. James, do you want to say a quick hello?
Of course, Josh, thanks. And thank you everyone for your time today. Jamie Drysdale, been at ClickDimensions now a number of years, been working with QGate in that time period as well, helping them serve customers on their marketing needs and requirements. So thank you for having me today.
Brilliant, thank you. And I also have my colleague Grant, who is our customer success manager and someone that certainly the clients on this webinar maybe already be familiar with. He's going to keep an eye on the chat and QA features for any of your questions, your comments, and also for your feedback. And for those of you on this call that don't know me, I've spent the last 10 years in, it's almost 11 years now actually, in software sales. And during that time, I've been involved in hundreds of software implementations. And I want to use this platform to share some of the things, hopefully, that I've learned during that time. It is also worthwhile mentioning that this webinar is being recorded, so please don't worry about making notes. We will be making a copy of the video available on our website and our YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of the week, and you should all be receiving an email notifying you that it's up and it's available on both those platforms. If you are watching this as a recording and you have any questions, then please feel free to use my contact details or Jamie's contact details here on the screen to contact either one of us directly. Okay, now I noticed that most of the names on this webinar are new to QGate, so for everyone's benefit, QGate is an operational efficiency and CRM consultancy that specializes in the use of Dynamics 365 and Power Apps to help solve our clients' business problems. And we believe that technology should work for you, not the other way around. And we're passionate about helping businesses streamline their processes, improve their customer relationships through the power of BPA and CRM. And we believe our goal is to empower our clients to focus on what they do best, which is running their businesses. We typically work with business owners, heads of operations, or IT managers in SMEs and kind of businesses and organizations up to typically about 250 people. And some of the things that they tell us, they're either scared of being left behind by digital developments and unable, or feel that they're unable to scale their businesses with the systems they have at the moment, or they're annoyed at how difficult it is to extract any kind of meaningful data from their businesses on which to make decisions, because it's all locked up in either multiple systems or multiple spreadsheets, or that they worry that they will lose customers because their processes are too cumbersome or too manual, and they lack automation and workflows. If any of those things sound familiar to you, then please feel free to contact me directly or drop us an email to info@qgate.co.uk, and let's arrange a time to speak and we may be able to help. Okay, now before we go on, I want to take a step back to 1995. And if anyone here needs a reminder of 1995, it's the year that Cotton Eye Joe was a #1 hit here in the UK. 1995 was also a big year for me. I was 21. I graduated university and I moved to London for my very first job. And every desk in the office I worked in had one of these. Okay, and yeah, I should probably actually, before I go on, yeah, let us know in the chat if you still have one of these. I know I did a webinar a few weeks ago on the 6 key elements of a successful webinar, and someone piped up and said they still use one of these. And if you remember what these were used for, is that on an index card you'd have your client's or prospect's name, you'd have their company details, you'd have a telephone number. We didn't use email addresses back then, but you may have had a fax number for the contact. Now, I could argue that many CRM implementations have changed very little since 1995, and these days, there are lots of businesses that still use a CRM as a contact management system. Okay, so a centralized location to store customer contact information, including names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, and hopefully no one is still collecting fax numbers. But a CRM system is so much more than that, and that is something that I hope that James from ClickDimensions is going to help me with today. And the reason we've chosen to invite ClickDimensions to join us on this webinar is because here at QGate we use ClickDimensions internally as the software we use to run our email marketing and marketing automation, and this, I have to admit, is not a contra deal. We actually pay James and ClickDimensions for the service we use, and we have done some due diligence on these guys as a suitable partner in this space for our clients. Okay, now James, before I hand over the controls over to you to screen share, I have what I think is a very obvious question, and this may not be something that's apparent to everybody that uses Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM, particularly if they're using it from a sales CRM perspective. But I guess in the interests of transparency, yeah, I'd like to kind of get your thoughts, ClickDimensions' thoughts on how you differ from the offering that anybody can get from Microsoft Dynamics 365 marketing platform.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh. And it's a fair question. Principally, they are both native to Dynamics marketing solutions. They serve very different fields. So we very much pride ourselves in the SMB market. I'll talk about that later, whilst Microsoft Marketing do focus predominantly on the enterprise level space. So to summarize it nicely, I suppose, the 3 S's: simplicity, support and services. So the simplicity of our solution is because it's designed for the SMB market, it's very easy to install and it's designed for marketers. Like I said, I'll talk about that shortly as well anyway. We do support as well. So there's a layer of success management and technical support that we wrap as part of our sort of provides for our end users. And also services as well, going above and beyond, not just providing a piece of kit for a customer and saying, off you go, good luck, but also enabling the ability to lean on experts in marketing, dynamics and CRM to help drive campaigns for customers. And reality is, unless you are like the Coca-Colas of the world, or you know, it's something that's Microsoft doesn't simply offer that level of support or services as, to the SMB market. So that's ultimately the key differentiator between our two businesses.
Yeah, and I would say, and I guess this probably goes for anybody that has to get sign off from a finance director for their marketing software or marketing proposals. I know it's much easier getting sign off for ClickDimensions for us to be using that internally than it would be to use the Microsoft platform. And I'd probably say that's probably the same for a lot of clients that we have that are in the SME space. At this point, James, I'm going to hand over the controls over to you to screen share. I'm going to stop sharing now for a second, just so you can share your deck with us.
Absolutely not a problem. Can you see my slides? All okay? All good? Perfect. Excellent. So, guys, thank you once again. So, discussion today: how to transform your dynamic CRM into a marketing engine. Now, very conscious of time, so we're going to keep it very high level, but we're ultimately going to cover off the challenges and you know, the typical sort of challenges that customers face when investing in both a CRM and marketing solution, as Josh mentioned earlier. And hopefully this is going to really resonate with a number of you here today. So hopefully we'll leave with you at least a snippet of value for your time today. We're going to then cover off the solution. And yes, look, what I'll cover off is going to relate to ClickDimensions as a whole. However, the goal really is to start enabling you to start thinking about how your technology as a whole in-house is talking to each other. Are the systems driving communication in the organization, or is it potentially hindering it? And then we're going to talk about outcomes. So we talk about outcomes here as, like any organization, the technology we work with is to help achieve an outcome. The tech is just simply an enabler for you to then achieve that. So we'll look to focus points to help then tie us all together full circle. As Josh very kindly did earlier, this is me. I'm a James Drysdale. I've been the regional director at ClickDimensions. I've been here for now 4 years. I feel like I've been in technology for a lifetime. I've got a bit of tenureship, so it's a passion. I enjoy working, and more importantly, consulting with organisations to really understand what they're looking to achieve, and just enabling to see how our technology can help resolve that. And this is our organisation. So who are ClickDimensions? So we're the #1 native marketing solution for Microsoft Dynamics. As mentioned earlier, we specialise in the SMB space. We have over 3,700 customers worldwide. Over 1,700 of those are based in the UK. These are also in multiple sectors, but they generally all have one common trait, and that they're an SMB organisation. So usually about less than 1,000 employees in our space using Dynamics. And that's who our organisation ultimately serves. We've been around the block a few years now, 13 to be precise. We've also been acquired by a company called Valaris Group out in the US, meaning we've got commercial support to continuously drive and improve both our solution and services to our customers. So let's talk about the #1 challenge. And this is what a lot of customers face, especially when they invest in a CRM system. They then go out and then they go invest in a marketing solution, and that's absolutely fine. The main challenge here, and Josh touched on it earlier, is the fact that they're working in siloed solutions, meaning that the two systems aren't continuously syncing. Now, the vast majority of marketing solutions will allow a level of export and import capabilities, and that is great. But This does result in having to put in additional technology and services that does to help enable that API piece, and it doesn't always necessarily translate back into the CRM. We tend to find that the export's pretty good and you're able to import that into a marketing solution, but then getting that data back into the CRM can be challenging. A good example of this would be that so often we hear by a prospect or a customer has filled out a form on your website. And what then happens is that the organization has to then manually understand if it's a known lead or contact already in the CRM system, and then allocate it to an individual who then is associated to that particular contact or lead, and then manually have to go and reach back out again. This also then starts limiting the marketing visibility and understanding what efforts are actually being converted into tangible revenue, as marketing obviously working off one platform and the rest of the organization is working off another. So just to recap, the summary of our key challenges here is that organizations are working in silo. They're not having full visibility on marketing efforts, and marketing are not understanding what converts as a result. So what is the solution here? Having something that's native to your CRM system, not integrated, but native. Just recapping the difference there, integrated means that there's some form of connection between the two systems, whilst native means that it literally lives inside your CRM platform. This not only means that departments in organizations are, all departments are singing off the same hymn sheet, but it also gives full visibility to the entire organization when it comes to data and, more importantly, business outcomes. So having that native solution ultimately means that all marketing efforts, whether it's email campaigns, forms to your website, IP tracking, it's all syncing back into the CRM system and that specific account, lead or contact records. Now, one thing we've not really spoken about yet is automated journeys. And with a native solution, you're able to then segment your audience specifically to custom fields that are based in your CRM system. So that's then hyper-personalizing that initial experience. But you're then able to then start dictating and designing your customer journeys. So you already know what the outcome is of what a customer will experience before you've even sent that list and that initial first engagement. But then what happens after that is that all that information from the journey, so every interaction, every clicks, every form fields is then syncing automatically back into the CRM system. And that's then updating your data in real time. And ultimately, that's our USP as an organization. So just to summarize that as well, we're focusing on a native solution here. So everyone in the organization is working off one platform. We're mapping emails, forms, everything back into the contact lead records in your CRM system. And then we're automating those journey, eliminating the time aspect and the manual labor it's needed to put in to design and execute marketing campaigns. So what's the outcome here? And I think, look, both Josh and I have spoken about this already, but the outcome of having a native solution to the CRM effectively aligns your CRM, your marketing, and your sales together. It drives and encourages collaboration between different departments by consistently syncing data to inform your CRM system to ensure the best outcome from your marketing efforts. It saves time on duplication of work by knowing the engagement behind every client and prospect is receiving. And it's not just using your CRM data intelligently to hyper-personalize communications outbound, but it's then getting those outbound activities from the activity to come back into your CRM system and updating that data automatically. So summarizing it there, full visibility over your marketing activity, saving time on duplication of work and consistently updating the CRM data from marketing efforts. So the final thoughts here. Technology, it needs to work in your favor and not just for the here and now, but also for the long term. We look to grow our clients' marketing strategy. So when it comes to business growth, you have that marketing arm that enables you to help drive the outcomes, whether that be brand awareness or whether it be demand generation of net new customers. So that's it in terms of a slideshow for myself. What I'm quite happy to do is actually just give you guys a quick snippet of what the actual solution looks like. I'm not going to go into too much because obviously every customer, especially on this call today, are going to be in different spaces in terms of sector and in terms of customer, in terms of marketing requirements. But ultimately, it is exactly what Dynamics looks like. It lives and breathes inside. So when we start talking about data segmentation, I'll pick out just my text example for here as an example. We can go into the design, but what we're able to do is start segmenting based on key criteria data that you have. These are all linked to your customer contact, lead, or account record information. And you can start segmenting and building audience lists within your CRM system based on the data you already have. So you're not having to create new custom fields in a separate platform. It's all done here then for you. You then got your list, fantastic. I've just used this as an example. These can be you can include as many of these as possible to really go into the granular segmentation for your audience. All this information then means that you then got your list. We then want to design and create outbound activity. How do you do that? You create your email templates and all your activity, all your forms, all your surveys, all your subscription management pages, all within ClickDimensions. And the easy, I suppose, depending on how far you want to go, it can be just pure drag and drop. We do have HTML and free markers, but 9 times out of 10, a lot of our customers do prefer just to have a drag and drop element, and that is exactly what we do enable. And then finally, what's the outcome? What does that need to look like? All that information, like I mentioned before, is going back into the CRM system. You have your typical CRM system and your contact records here. You've got your summary of who that individual is, but we also enable a ClickDimensions button and tab. And this will actually pull through all activity that's being driven from your marketing efforts. You can see what marketing lists these individuals are being part of. You can see what email, what events they've been attending, what forms they filled out, what subscriptions they filled out. Where have they viewed on your website? It's all here within your CRM system. And I can't emphasize this enough in terms of, keeping your data clean and using that to your advantage, and then keeping it consistently clean through marketing efforts. So hopefully this is just giving you a bit of food for thought today, guys. Obviously, from our next objectives would be to work with the likes of Josh and Grant and understand really what your key objectives are when it comes to marketing, and just having a very open conversation about that, and if our solution can support you and those goals.
Fantastic.
And that is everything from me. So Josh, over to you, good sir.
Excellent. And there's Jamie's details in case obviously you have any questions. I've got a question, James, that came out of your presentation just then. Do you want to expand a little bit on kind of what automation actually means in the context of marketing and especially kind of email marketing, because again I feel it maybe still be a kind of a relatively new concept for many of us, and I know until recently it was a fairly new concept for me as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, so I think when it comes to actually designing email templates, etc., you can automate that to some degree by saving segments and knowing what works best for your organization. Thinking about newsletters as an example, we've got a templated newsletter. We know that 75% of this we can keep in terms of the format, in terms of some of the messaging as well, but it does need to get tailored and freshened up to help keep customers engaged. But taking that into the automation piece, it's then, once again, we have something called Campaign Automation Builder, which enables you to create your lists, send out emails, and then already start dictating if a customer, for example, engages with that email, they then follow a certain path, and that then goes then to interacting with the end user through other forms or surveys. It can then also start notifying individuals internally as well to say, your contact, your customer has interacted with your email, and then you can set up follow-up tasks as well for your internal consultant as well to then do something about that. Or perhaps the customer hasn't engaged with that email and they follow a negative path. But ultimately, you're creating this journey, this predetermined journey before the customers even receive the email, even before you've sent the email. You already know what those outcomes look like, regardless whether they're positive or negative. And that's what marketing is all about. It's about creating sustainable journeys that you know the outcome for.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Right. I just want to bring in, I guess, our audience and also my colleague Grant here, who obviously has been keeping an eye on the chat function. Before we go into any questions, any comments or feedback from our registrants, Grant, that you think is worth sharing?
Hi, we haven't had any feedback as of yet, but again, if you do have any questions, please ask away. If you don't feel comfortable asking them on here, please drop me an email at grant.selden@qgate.co.uk.
Excellent. I mean, I've picked up one quick question here, and I'm glad this question is being asked because I know a couple of people on the call have expressed an interest in this particular subject matter, and this is obviously a question for James, and that is the solution from ClickDimensions opt-in or opt-out, or can it deal with both?
Yeah, good question. So it is both. It can be either or. It depends on how you want to manage your subscription management. So we do have a subscription management page builder that you can either create and put onto a landing page, or you can embed it into your website, or you can add it into an email body, not a problem at all. And what you are able to do is create a list of subscription preferences that then the client then answers, and that automatically then ties back into the contact or lead record. You just need to map those questions back into the CRM data, and it syncs automatically. So and that is global unsubscribe out, or you can provide options to help the customers engage and receive content that they actually want to receive, and not just hoping for the best.
Okay. Excellent. I hope that's answered the question that's been asked.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, a quick reminder that we do have at QGate on our website a dedicated page for recordings of our previous webinars and also accompanying blog posts. And some of the subjects that we've covered in recent weeks include the ones that you see on the screen in front of you. I know we've got a few people from the recruitment sector in particular joining this particular webinar, and they can also view our streaming recruitment workflows with CRM automation webinar on that page. And again, if you're viewing this as a recording and you want to be sent a link to any one of these, then please feel free to drop us an email either to me directly or to info@qgate.co.uk, and somebody will pick that up and hopefully be able to direct you to the right place. We will, as I mentioned, also be sharing the copy of the video recording of this. Well, that'll be sent out directly in an email to everybody that's registered. Okay, and that should also go up on that QGate blog page as well. Okay, and again, if anybody's watching this and they have any questions, either for me or James, they can reach us on the contact details you see on the screen in front of you. Thank you to James from ClickDimensions and my colleague Grant for keeping an eye on the chat and questions. And thank you all for joining us here today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, guys.